years is this Back to Africa movement. Now, Back to Africa movement means many different things for many different people. For some people, Back to Africa means to pick up from America or from anywhere in the diaspora and move back to Africa. For some people, moving back to Africa is that second choice. For me, moving back to Africa move is not per se moving back to Africa, but making Africa a second choice, meaning that I'm going to be spending my time equally in Africa and in America. Now, you got a lot of people who believe that, America is racist and we just want to leave America alone. I'm not in that crew. I believe that America is racist, but I also believe that, my life has been good here in America. So, and I also want to make a life in Liberia, which I have bought property in Liberia and I'm investing in Liberia. Now, if you want to make Africa or Liberia your second choice, meaning that, hey, something go wrong with America, we out, I got me some stuff in Africa somewhere where I can, move out there and do my thing. You know what I'm saying? And, it's not a bad idea. Everybody should have a second choice of where they should stay. Don't get it twisted. There are a lot of people in this country that own property in other countries. We're just now getting involved with that. We just don't have to live in America. You can live in South America, you can live in Europe, you can live in Africa, you can live in Australia, buy property, and you can go back and forth. We're just now starting to do that. And you don't have to say, well, I'm just gonna leave America alone. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But that's not my goal. My goal is to go back and forth. People hate America right now. There's this hate with America going on right now. Hey, I understand. I see where they're coming from. I'm just not there yet. But anyway, we're going to get into our topic. But first of all, I need for you to hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. Let me know what you think, because we want a lot of other content coming out. We got a lot to say. So we're going to start this right now.
Oh, yeah. So we got two lives going. This is special for us. You know what I mean? We got Diaspora, Kicking the Bobos, and we also have Make It Make Sense. For my people that Make It Make Sense, we're now talking to Roderick Coleman over at Diaspora, Kicking the Bobos. And he's doing this live with us today to kind of break down, what his channel's about and kind of talk to us about, being able to move around and having the freedom to go elsewhere if things are going wrong here, or like he said, if you just want to be able to spend some time in other places. So we're going to be asking him some questions, because you guys have never heard of him or never met him before. So we want to introduce him to you. So again, it's Rod Coleman and
Make It Make Sense.
Special guest in the house.
Yes,
special
sir.
guest.
Mr. Coleman.
So how we do it here at Make It Make Sense, since you're here, the Pops, I'm gonna go ahead. We do what's called self-check.
Self-check.
A self-check.
Okay.
And what self-check is basically, all of us are young men going through the week, you know what I mean? And we're going through different things in our life. So when we get here and we're fellowshipping, we like to remind ourselves and remind everybody else that you need to do a self-check, which is you need to go back, think about things that have happened during the week, and think about how you could have gotten through those situations better and what you need to do moving forward so you can be in a good position for the next week, basically. So if you want to go ahead and give a self-check, we would love that.
Well, basically, my self-check is, as my subscribers know, that I'm a therapist. And, you meet with clients and, what they go through, you got to help them go through a lot of things. And I think the week could have been a little bit better because of the weather. Sometimes they can get to you, sometimes they can't. And then, you got the Zoom thing that you can do with your clients, but a lot of times there's no privacy because on their end, and so they can't talk to you the way they should or tell you what they really want, because there's always people listening in. But for the most part, my week has been really good. You know, as Rod Jr. know, I hate winter. You might ask yourself, well, what, if you hate winter, why are you in Minnesota? Well, I love Minnesota. I just don't like between January and April.
You know,
Cold.
for real, that is that time. That's that
I
time.
wouldn't live in any other state but Minnesota. But from January to April, I'll be flying to Africa, the Bahamas. I get out of here, man.
Self-check.
Get up out of here, okay?
Yes, sir.
Take it, Drizzy.
As far as me, my self-check this week would be to communicate with my family a little more. Make it make sense as my family too, but I'm talking about my main family. You know, just communicating with them more, having a better relationship with them. As you guys know, I started working again, so I'm back grinding again there. So,
Self-check.
Man, self-check.
I want to go too deep with y'all. Yeah.
Alright, sharing this. So, man, yo, my self-check, boy, because this week been a roller coaster for me, you know what I'm talking about? Like, I actually ended up having an event of getting fired from one job, and then I'm starting training for another one on Tuesday. So, it was like, you know what I'm saying? And it's the retarded part. I've never been so happy to get fired from a job. Like,
Happy.
you know
It's
what I
like
mean?
that. Yeah.
So that was the part where I was like, okay, damn, the next bag, you know what I'm saying? This month I'll be all right, but next month, and then, you know what I'm saying, manager called me back from Beckerwood, like, yo, you want to start training Wednesday or Tuesday? I said, Tuesday, I don't need no more days off. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the part, that's the part where I had to be like, damn, you know what I'm saying, everything ain't as bad as you be trying to think too
there
hard
you
about,
go.
you know what I'm
There
saying?
you
You
go,
calm down and
for
process it, it'll work out.
Yep.
Self-check.
Yeah. So Robbie Rod, Slick Rick self-check today. We're gonna I'm gonna say, man, this week has been a little bit of a week for me too. Like Pop said, the weather. That's been crazy. But you know, me, I'm thinking about things like, man, sometimes I feel like I'm a borderline narcissist, right? Because when I look at situations and I'm going through situations and dealing with people, sometimes I have the mind frame that while I'm interacting with this person knows exactly where I'm coming from. Like, they already know my thought pattern. They already know how I'm coming about the situation. So if a person doesn't see things the way I see things, or they don't react the way I feel they should react based on what I'm thinking about the situation, it pisses me off, man. And it takes me somewhere where I'm not able to always still get what I need handled. So today my self-check is to take my time, break it down, and start trying to understand situations from other people's point of view before I go in and make up my mind. So that's the self-check.
Self-check.
He lying though.
Okay, so my self-check, it been like the past 2 weeks. I ain't telling none of the fellas, but wife, she went out and brought some type of lizard.
You still ain't tell nobody that shit, though.
You know,
I swear to God.
Before she, brought it, she was sending me pictures. I'm in denial. Heck no. Get out that pet store. Leave it alone type shit. So sure enough, she came back with the pet. Heated. And the cage in my room,
The cage in the
Now you gotta
room.
sleep
Overheated.
man. So,
We ain't sleeping with the lizards, though.
man, so, I was, mad about it, this and that, but, I had to learn, get over it, self-check, at the end of the day, it's still a living thing, Humans, animals, they important. They got hearts, they got, you feel me?
Yeah.
So,
Yes, sir.
that's what I had to learn, self-check and, just deal with it.
Self-check.
Self-check.
Really
Definitely, man.
How you feeling?
Man, I can think of so many goddamn self-checks now. No, but definitely this week, I'm self-checking myself with time, trying to distribute it all kind of evenly, I guess I would say. I don't know, not where it should go. Like, the important time, you know, put more of that into my family, and then, you know, cut some of the hobby times out and just give more towards, you know, my family, the kids, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna definitely say just being better with timing, man. Yeah, just being better, you know.
I definitely agree.
We ain't got a lot of it, you know what I'm saying? So
Work and
we you know.
family and, you know, self-love,
Yeah,
self-check.
exactly.
That
So
stuff is important.
That'll be my self-check this week, just getting better with my timing. Yep,
So kicking the bobos, y'all new to this. You know, we've been
Yeah.
true to this with Make It Make
Makes sense,
Sense.
for sure.
Y'all new to this, so always join in, even if
Yeah.
y'all ain't checking out
Yeah.
Make It Make Sense.
Yeah.
Always do a self-check.
And drop your
Always
self-checks in the
take care of
comments if you had a
yourself.
self-check this week.
Drop
Drop your
them
self-checks
self-checks.
down. Yeah, for sure.
So now that we've taken care of the self-check, it's time for us to gain an understanding for the people that Make It Make Sense. You know,
Who our
Mr.
special
Coleman
guest.
is.
Yes,
And
yes.
what brought him into the situation that he's currently in. So if you can, Mr. Coleman, can you just give us a brief description of, you know, what was your mind state and what brought you to the situation where you started to decide that you wanted to pay more attention to the African diaspora and you wanted to start focusing in and wanted to start leaning more toward, you know, moving to Africa, having property in Africa? Like, what's important? What should us young black men take away from this meeting that we're having tonight?
Or just
to
our black
make
community, too. Yeah,
our
the black community.
the
'Cause
whole
the
black
ladies don't know
community.
either.
I
Yeah,
got
you
a
know.
question when you done with that.
What-
We all got questions.
What can we take away? You know, what's the biggest thing you want us to take away, and what brought you to wanting to focus more on Africa?
Well, the reason why I want to focus more on Africa is because I had an awakening. You know, one of the things that, as foundational Black Americans, is that we've been taught certain things that is not true. You know, and a lot of us,
That's the biggest scam.
we are waking up. You know, everybody in this room is awoke. You know, and I know that because of the name of your program. You know, and my son, we talk a lot. And the thing about it is, when you wake up, you start to see things as it really is. You know, we were taught the discovery Africa. We wasn't taught the real Africa. You know, when we were looking at Africa, we saw these little hungry kids with the big belly and the flies flying out, you know. And, you know, the first thing I would think of, you know, bro, all you got to do is do this, knock the fly off. You know? You know, and we came up thinking that lions and people were living with lions and stuff. And then we'll ask an African that, and which is embarrassing. Hey man, do y'all live with the lions? You know, that's insulting to them. You know? And when you wake up, you finally decide to do research on Africa. We've been taught that all Africans hate foundational Black Americans, which is not true. You know? And I know this because I know a lot of them, and I go visit Africa all the time. And the thing about that is that I found out that it's affordable to live there. And I was like, man, you mean to tell me I can go there and I can have this much money left and I can do this and do that with it? You know, I found out that, heck, I can live in Africa for $900 a month. Living large.
Living large.
Living large, yeah, large.
Large.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not the
Rent-
line that we paying here.
That's rent, eating,
You said they're not the line.
3-bedroom house.
Yeah, I definitely agree to that because before I got older, like when I see Africa, I just think like they poor. You know?
Yeah. But that's what America shows you, I feel like. Too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I
actually,
us
it's the
too, though.
richest. I heard it was maybe the richest.
It is.
I heard
Yeah.
it was the richest.
But if you notice, don't they do the same thing with us?
Yeah, they show
Yeah.
the worst of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
The worst in us.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they show them all the movies that, you know,
Yeah.
all of us carrying guns, tattooed
Right.
up, you
Okay.
know.
Resources.
When they bring them in, when they bring them in America, yeah, they take them in that immigration takes them in that room, showing the video. Who got the hoodie on? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Who's looking around the corner? You know, it's
Some of the biggest cities in the world is in Africa.
But you see, the thing about it is, it's based on economics because they know there's 41 million foundational Black Americans. And if we take our money and we start spending it there, then it doesn't come here.
Right.
So they have to invent a way to keep you to stay here.
Right.
Business, huh?
You see what I'm saying?
smart for that.
If you look at foundational Black Americans, our situation is that we probably got the 5th largest. What do you call that?
Commerce.
Economy
Economy.
in the world.
Within black people.
Not black people, foundational
Black
black people. That's
Right.
basically African Americans.
American,
You know,
Right.
by ourselves. That's
Right.
not including Colombia and all these other
Right.
Brazil and
Right.
South
Right.
Africa and all these other places. You know, they keep it there. Like for instance, when you want to go to Africa, you got to go through Europe to get to Africa. That's to keep that money there,
Yeah,
so you can spend money there.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
They need a piece
So
of
they
the
setting
pie.
up these loopholes. Okay.
So you got to wise up. And the reason why I say Africa's a second choice is because, you know, there are certain countries there that really understand who and what we are, especially Liberia is one of them. Heck, you can be hanging out with a Liberian and don't even know you're Liberian until you say, I'm Liberian.
Right.
You know, because he look and act just like we do.
Right.
Same with the Nigerian, the same with the Gambian, you know, Cameroonian. You know, if you don't hear the accent, you don't know. Say, hey, my parents are Liberian.
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone, yes.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Coleman, is it more like a cultural thing? And how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing this for about 4 years.
Okay.
I've been awoken for about 15 years. See, some people become awoken,
Yeah.
and then later on they start to do something about it.
Right.
I wish when I first became awoken, I started to do something about it. Then I'll be further along than what I am now.
Okay.
And I didn't start doing anything about it until about 4 years ago.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
You didn't lose it.
Okay, definitely. And how long have you been traveling over to Africa? How long have you been doing that?
I've been traveling over there for about 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Yeah, but I've been traveling to other places like the Caribbeans for 15 years and South American. I make it a point to go where black folks are,
Okay.
you know, because my thing is that white folks ain't got my money enough.
Exactly.
Still to this day.
You know, they still get it.
Everything.
So I gotta spread it around.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything.
Even without asking, sometimes
Man.
the taxes are up.
Man,
Oh, yeah.
Uncle Sam ain't playing.
Yeah, Uncle
So
Sam ain't
I got a
playing.
question, Mr. Coleman.
Okay.
So, okay, you mentioned earlier that you do therapy.
Mhm.
So, was that before or after your working period, and did that have anything with your traveling to the different countries abroad?
I do therapy. I've been doing therapy for 24 years. And I've been traveling abroad. My channel is Diaspora Kicking the Bobo. If you go to Diaspora Kicking the Bobo, you'll see a lot of my travels on there.
Okay.
You know, I've been to the main cities. I've been out in the bush. I've been out in the jungle one time. I wouldn't.
Oh,
I
you like
don't
Charlie
wanna-
Tree One Tree?
I don't want to do that one too much, but I also been to the villages. You know, I've been to ceremonies of people getting their namings in Sierra Leone. You know, Liberia. I know me and my wife had went up in this really bush area where it was crowded, and the first thing I thought about was, you know, my mortal enemy, snakes. And I went further up in there. I went, well, you know what? Let me get out of here before I see one.
Okay.
You know, so I got up out of there. But the thing about it, yeah, we travel, you know, and it is awesome. The people are awesome in those countries. They love African Americans, to tell you the truth.
Right.
You know.
So you say therapist for 24 years?
Yes.
Are you still doing therapy?
Practicing therapy.
Yep, I am.
And
You
is
know.
it like Pacific? Is it family or
Well,
Oh, right.
trauma or?
I do it all.
Mm.
I do it all. You know, I'm qualified to do it all. You know, my wife is her therapy is a little bit more higher than mine.
Yeah.
You know, so I usually don't like dealing with the when it goes to diagnosing,
Yeah.
I won't do that.
Right,
you know.
okay.
So I just love to do the one-on-ones and do the
Yeah,
treatment plans and different
Yeah, okay.
things like that, you know. But
So,
it's nice.
Is it true, like, a lot of therapists need therapy themselves after?
Oh yeah.
You know, everybody else stories.
Many personalities
and,
to
you
deal
know,
with.
I got this thing and I say everybody on the planet is crazy. It just depends on how crazy you are.
Right, okay.
You know, my crazy ain't your crazy, and your crazy ain't mine.
Okay, I get that. I get that.
There's something wrong with all of us.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I had a question as well. As far as the Africa thing, so the cost of living in Africa is what I wanted to know in the weather, because I know you said you hate the winters up in Minnesota. So I want to know what the weather's like in Africa, and I want to know like the cost of living.
Like, can you break down like what a day?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's
Dinner
probably they got rich parts and poor
everything,
parts,
you know?
just like United States.
Well, the weather in Africa depends on. Not remember, Africa's a continent.
Right.
Okay.
So you got 54 countries
Countries,
in Africa, and like for instance, when I got off the plane in Morocco, it was cool. It was like 40 degrees, and I was shocked. Degrees, and I was shocked. You know,
That's
so when
up
you
north.
go to northern Africa, it get kind of cool. Don't get cold like here, but
Right.
it's cool.
Right,
You
true,
need a
right.
jacket. And that would also, you know, and then when you go to West Africa, it's hot. They have two seasons: rainy season and the dry season. You know, and it's nice. You know, it doesn't get even in the rainy season, it doesn't get cold. But you know, Zimbabwe, it gets you see people wearing jackets in Zimbabwe, depending on what time of the year it is. You know, so it can get cool. I wouldn't say cold, but it can get cool there.
So from cool to super,
Give us a little
it can be super hot.
Yeah, and as far as the cost of living there, it depends on where which country you're in. Now, I don't like to say cheap because Africa is not cheap.
Right.
It's affordable.
It's affordable. Yeah,
Right.
I like that.
You know, and the thing about it is that if you do the right planning, you can go there and you can make it. You know, you don't go to Africa to get a job. You go to Africa to start a business. And when you go there, you're gonna see that there's a lot of things that they don't have there. And if they don't have it, then you bring it, and you will make money from bringing it. You know,
Yeah.
if you go there and if you don't see a bakery, you don't see a laundromat, then you start a laundromat. If you don't see a burger restaurant, then you start a burger restaurant. I remember when I went to Sierra Leone, I wanted some pizza. You find no pizza. And
Not down there.
and trust me,
It's
you got
American.
enough foreigners
Italian
coming
person.
from other countries that love pizza that will buy your pizza, including the residents population.
Gotta get down there.
But what about the right team to even have people to create that business or to even work there and make it?
Yeah, I mean the right team.
Yeah.
The right team is you.
That's right. On my life, I'm about to say that. I was about
Just
to say
take
that.
one
It is a team.
In Ghana, an African American lady went there and started a Chinese restaurant.
Whoa.
And she's doing good.
She's doing good.
Whoa.
Another man went there and started one of those Pappy's like restaurants.
Chicago style.
Chicago, and he's doing well. He's in Ghana too. Then you got a lot of Liberians who are going back home, and they're buying land and they are doing a lot of things. Farming is where it's at in Africa. Farming, you know, because they import a lot of stuff.
Right.
You know, they need to start doing a lot of stuff in their own country.
You know, they got the best soils and everything.
Yes.
But still sometimes forced to import chicken and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Somebody tell me what's the word.
I heard a rumor. I call it a rumor because I don't know how true it is, but supposedly the U.S. tried to have some type of oil line, and I guess it was supposed to go through Africa, and I guess Africa They wasn't.
Well, when you say
having-
Africa, you got to be careful, because when you say Africa,
big.
remember
Yeah.
it's a continent,
Yeah.
not,
It's part.
You could,
not a
you
country.
could fit a whole bunch of United States in there.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
I mean,
You can
And,
put a whole bunch
you
of-
know, like for instance, you might say, let's just say they wanted to run that oil line through Nigeria,
Yeah.
and that might be true, but Nigeria ain't Liberia, and Liberia ain't Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe ain't South Africa
Yeah.
or Namibia, so they probably won't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I also think that that's probably Africa's weak spot, because of the fact that they're not together that way, you know? And I think that's what hurts them on the world scene, is because they need to come together and be united.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
So,
So they divided kind of like the foundational.
In a way, because like, but it's more
Tribal.
It's more so tribal in a
Yeah.
way. You
Because
know,
we're
this is
tribal
my
people.
country, this is your country.
We come from
Russia,
tribal. That's
Ukraine,
our ancestors.
something like that.
That's
Tribal
like
people.
that would be like saying, okay,
They got us with the gangs.
North
and they got the
America,
tribes over there.
North America is doing something with Brazil. Those are two entirely different countries.
Right,
So
right.
Ghana and Nigeria, even though they close to each other,
Yeah.
them doing something with each other, you know, we two entirely different countries, bro.
yeah.
And then you got to think too, in Africa, here as African Americans, we think anybody who's dark skinned, who got dark skin, we say brother. That's my brother. You know, we think we're supposed to work together and everything's,
Right.
which ain't a bad thing, I guess. But you got to remember, in Africa, the people who usually are the people going to war with you and oppressing you look just like you. So it ain't, you know, it's about my brother, but hold on now.
Right.
What are you about?
Right.
What's
Right.
going on
Where your
here?
man at?
What tribe are you
What's
from?
up?
Yeah.
What's your
How you-
plans
how
here?
you
What are
cut?
how are you about to
tribal
push?
down there, definitely
You
tribal.
know what I mean? So
I think that one of the things about Africa is that when you look at all major races and all major countries, they had a conqueror.
Right.
Rome, Greek,
Right.
you know, the
right.
Chinese has had Emperor Zhao, you know, they conquered and they brung everybody together. I'm not saying it's good, and I'm not saying it's bad. The problem with Africa is it's never had a conqueror. Now, Europe came over there and colonized, but as far as Africa itself, no one ever conquered and brung everybody
everything together.
brung everything together. So that's why you might be in Nigeria. Nigeria might have 30 different tribes that speak 30 different languages. And then you go to the next country, they got about 40 different tribes and 40 different languages. So it's hard. And that's why they're kind of tribal. You know, they're nice they're very, very nice people. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, there's a lot of disagreements on how things are supposed to be and different things like that.
You saying they're very, very nice people brings up a question that I got for you, and it reminds me of something that I've heard from you. Now, you spent some time in Sierra Leone. One of the main things I hear foundational black people talking about is how dangerous it can be in Africa. But you being somebody who's gone to Africa and actually experienced it, you know what I mean? You had an experience where you had lost your wallet, dropped your wallet somewhere, left, came back, and nobody had even touched it. You know, that's not to say that there's no crime in Africa. As we know, you know, there's places that do fraud and stuff like that. But we have Chicago here. We have New York here. We have Gary, Indiana. We have Compton, LA, Houston, New Orleans.
Right.
All these places where young black brothers are murdered on a consistent
Baltimore,
basis.
Jersey.
What was it like? What was your experience like dealing with other Africans and hearing about violence in Africa?
Well, you hear about a lot of violence in Africa. It is not true. It's not true. If a guy you don't know look at you and say, "Psst, come here in this alley," would you go?
No.
Well, why would you do it in Africa?
Right,
You see what I'm saying?
right,
It's the same thing everywhere.
right.
That situation that you was talking about, I had my book bag, and I took my book bag off. and I left it. I got off the boat and I left it. It had my passport, all my identification, and my money, wallet, everything. I had $2,300 in that bag. I wasn't worried about the $2,300. I wanted my passport because my passport
Right.
get me home.
Get you out of there.
Right.
Man, I was like, oh man, I need this, I need it. That one of them guys looked at me and said, don't worry. Man, he sent his people out looking for my stuff. Man, they found it, brought it back. I looked in there. It had $2,300 in there, all my stuff.
Where can you say that at? Where can you leave all that at?
It ain't come back in the studio.
And then come back. Where you
Everything's
going?
still there.
It's not gonna
Everything
happen.
was still there.
It's not gonna happen,
Hey,
man.
okay, so I got one more question for you. You hear me? So, you know what I'm saying? As an albino individual, have you ever been to Tanzania?
Tanzania, I would love to go to Tanzania, but I've never been to Tanzania.
Where?
That's in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tanzania
I've been
is
told as an
nice.
albino individual that I can't go there because of the black market.
Oh, really?
Albino? You ever met an albino before?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta see. That's one of them. That's another one of them things, man. They be
And
trying
that's
to
why,
make it out.
and that's why, right?
Look,
that's why I'm asking.
We live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, man. People getting shot,
Right.
killed left and right.
Oh, really?
Yes,
You know, here, you know, Tanzania. I'm sorry,
Tanzania.
Tanzania.
Yeah.
Unless there's a war going on,
Type shit.
or you really mess somebody over, you're not hearing none of that, man. Now that's not to say it's not happening.
Right.
Things are happening everywhere.
It's less common, though.
But when you hearing about violence, as Americans, as black people in North America,
Right.
we shouldn't be worried about no violence. Because we got that right here.
Oh, yeah.
It ain't nowhere you can go
Right.
in the world, with the exception of wherever it's war torn,
Yeah,
where it's
it's
absolute
violence,
war,
so-
that's gonna be more violent for us than it is
Yeah,
here.
because we grew up with it.
I would say the only set of people that I would say would have a problem in Tanzania because it is so strict would be foundational black women.
Okay.
That's probably, you know, in a lot of the Muslim countries,
Right.
they're very strict when it comes to women.
How you
Yeah.
talking to
How
her.
they talk
Dubai,
and
for
different
sure.
things like Dubai,
You gotta cover
all
their whole
of them.
face.
And I don't think
The foundational.
foundational
Black woman, the
will-
foundational black
will
woman,
do
y'all ain't gonna
good.
make it over there.
Now, if they
Get it
with
together.
a black man, they can, you know. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's how it is.
Right.
You know, and even the women will look at them like they're crazy.
And you're not talking about like on some rape type or
No.
You're talking about on some if you mouth off to me,
The respect.
I might do something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the real, don't play with me.
And is that okay down there?
And it's legal.
That's what
It's
it is.
legal. It's
That's
going.
what it is.
Get out of line over there in Africa. You want to?
Welcome to Make It Make Sense.
Yes,
Tuned in. Mr. Coleman, special guest in the house.
Yes, sir.
And tell them where they can find you at. Yes, definitely let them know.
Bobos, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Diaspora Kicking the Bobo, and you can also find me on Facebook. I don't too much use my Facebook. You know, I got to learn how to use it. You know, a lot of people trying to get in contact with me. I'll go in there and find out that 6 months ago somebody, one of my good friends, tried to contact me, and I go, oh wow.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not computer savvy. You know, my son and my grandchildren kind of help me out with this. But it's called Diaspora Kicking the Bobo, and you know, we're a good channel. We talk about things, second choices. You know, where you can go to live, visit. You know, you don't have to go to Europe, France, and all those other places. And I'm going to be talking about Europe and France and colonization and how evil France is. France is an evil country, and I will be explaining that.
Man.
Okay, we can give it up for Mr. Coleman.
Give it up for Mr.
Speaking on
Coleman.
that, let's dig a little deeper. You know, we got the surface level.
They invaded
So
Haiti.
you being somebody who believes in the diaspora, what do you think about BRICS because that's something that I see on Facebook. A lot of us black folks talking about BRICS, and
Right,
how do
which
you
BRICS?
feel like it's gonna affect America?
I think when
Break it down.
BRICS start hitting it, they started it now, but when BRICS start hitting like it's supposed to, that's going to bring the American dollar down. What's going on is that BRIC is this group of people that came together. It's China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, South Africa, and they're trying to get Ethiopia, and all of these countries are getting their own money, their own dollar, because they're dissatisfied with the American dollar, you know. And I know all of them signed something a long time ago after World War II, and American dollar is the main dollar that everybody uses. But now, because America has been getting its way, people are tired of America, so they're like, we're going to do our own thing, especially since Russia is in this verbal battle with the United States. The United States is trying to tell everybody what to do, and people are like, I don't, you know, this is my country, stay out of my country.
Tired of you telling us what to
Tired of you telling us what to do. And the only hold you got on us is the American dollar.
Yeah.
And so now they getting ready to get rid of it. And when they do it, I think it's gonna hit hard maybe 2 years from now. Because everybody is still, they working out the details and different things like that. But yeah, BRIC is gonna, so if you wanna know more about BRIC, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Google, and just hit BRIC. And then they'll tell you a lot about it, you know.
A lot of people don't know, like, they don't know, a lot of black folks especially, we gotta pay attention to this because we're always affected the hardest by everything that goes on, you know what I mean? So a lot of black people don't know that at first America had to deal with everybody like, yo, if you wanna buy oil to survive, you gotta use the American dollar.
I was gonna say
You
it's
have
gonna
to
have
use the American dollar to buy
It's
oil.
gonna have an effect on the commerce trade.
Right. So now that there's countries that got together and they all came together, like, look, we're gonna use our own money for this. We don't care about the American dollar. That means there's an alternative to the American dollar now. And all other countries can make that decision like, yo, we're tired of them trying to act like they the biggest and the baddest, so we're gonna go this way.
Or me, or
We
that's
gonna
just
lose money.
make
Bullies,
American
Americans are bullies.
dollar value. That's why we in debt.
Business.
If
It's all
not, they can
business.
go print that.
American
We
is business,
make this money. You feel me?
It's business.
So us being in debt with all these countries, that's just so the whole value.
Right.
That's it.
It throws everything off.
Now they gonna
And that's
come
why
to
we at Diaspora Kicking the Bobo say second choices.
Yeah.
When you got that second
Yeah.
choice,
Other countries
you
ain't
hit
gonna
that
play that.
plane and you can go.
Yeah, there you
And it
go.
all
On
hits.
me.
Yeah.
And it's gonna hit.
Want that second choice where you need to go live? Definitely get into him
On
with
me.
Mr. Coleman.
Press for time.
Definitely,
Let's,
man. Make it make
move
sense.
on,
Definitely
Being
press.
for real, yeah.
The Diddy,
Oh,
we
yeah.
feel about this?
So,
Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, Lord.
getting into a couple other situations.
Yeah, on me.
Yep, getting another couple situations, man. We definitely got to tag in with the Diddy situation. We don't know what's going on with him. We ain't no charges been brought up, but it's a lot of allegations going on.
On me.
It's a
Whole
lot of
episode messing with Diddy.
yeah. It's a
Another episode.
I hope they forgive me for what I did with Diddy.
Yeah, drop in the comments what y'all think.
yeah.
man.
Drop in the comments.
See,
If you-
innocent or guilty.
or who got the evidence? Y'all let us.
Hold
You
on.
know, who got the evidence?
It's all allegations right now. I mean, we've been seeing them act a little spicy for these years in and out, but
Is it a distraction?
Is it a
Y'all feel like
distraction?
What though?
that's a bigger thing too. We don't know. They never tell us.
Right.
They never tell us.
Kind of just come
To
across.
me,
it.
So
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna say,
speak on it.
keep your eyes in the news.
I
Keep
think
your
they
eyes
just cracking down on everything, you know, from people that's doing gangster hip hop and saying stuff that they
Yeah.
Legal
did
charges galore.
to people that had allegations of doing shit with minors or rape, taking advantage or this and that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing now.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Like whatever you do, if it's negative, hey, they come to holler at you.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
come
2.0.
I think it's a spiritual thing too. It's
Yeah.
all it's like the veil's
Oh,
been
yeah.
lifted.
Yeah.
2024, you
Yeah.
do something, it's coming right back around.
Yeah.
Oh, me. Yeah.
I,
Wait,
I
that
just
comment.
think it's a conspiracy to bring another good black man down.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If they can get Diddy, then they can get Jay. They can get. You gotta look deeper into that.
Yeah.
So it's just another conspiracy. Conspiracy to bring another black man
Started
down.
with
Diddy done
Kills,
helped it.
Bill Cosby.
That's all it is,
Yeah.
man. That's what I'm.
You know, my opinion is that whatever Diddy's been doing in them rooms, everybody, if it is true, they had a choice to go in them rooms.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So why are we going in there bringing him down? You know, whether you agree with it or not. It was he didn't force him in them rooms.
No.
Whole time they was doing that because they thought he was the meal ticket.
Yeah.
And
I heard different stories though. Some said he
drugged
them.
him.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
drugged
he
them.
drugged them.
Some said he
He
bribed
put
them.
a
And you
Cosby on him, huh?
$250,000.
he had the Diddy juice.
Yeah, so
The drugs was in the Ciroc.
It was freaks.
It was in the Ciroc.
Oh,
Freaks when he got there.
But I just, on a spiritual level, like I'm gonna tap in with Slick Rick back here, man. On a spiritual level, I definitely think we're living in the times of revelation. So anything you do right now, you think it's in the dark,
It's out there.
it's already got a light on it. It already is showing the world, like so. You know, because Diddy is going to come down with a lot of other people. It ain't going to be just Diddy. It's going to be all these other people that was engaging with him too.
He got video.
So it's
gonna be dead people coming
he's going to
up.
have some.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have some co-defendants.
they got more evidence on Diddy than R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Look at what they did to Kels. So,
And I find it equally weird. Like if this was really not serious allegations or allegations that could be true, where are all the people that attended these Diddy parties? He wasn't there by himself.
Right.
It was a
That's
party.
just what-
That means people were there. So where are these people?
responsible
Why
for
y'all ain't
80
coming forward?
murder.
He just messing with Diddy.
They talking about murders
That's a
and
black
rapes
man.
and all that.
Generational wealth is straight. Family
This
is
shit,
straight.
this
But the
shit-
same thing,
We seen this.
we can't highlight that without highlighting the stuff that's going on at Nickelodeon too now.
Oh yeah.
They might have just dropped the Diddy just to distract us, because Nickelodeon is on the same thing.
and they been had a track record.
They
Yeah.
six it.
So them people over there are doing the same allegations as Diddy.
And that touch home, we got
Yeah.
Nickelodeon Land,
Right.
the biggest mall in the world. So
They might have to change
Is that what it
that.
is? Still, it's Nickelodeon now?
It's Nickelodeon
It's
Universe.
not Camp. They changed.
Yeah,
We need to
they-
go back to
Yeah,
Camp
yeah,
Snoopy.
yeah.
We need to go back.
It's like this, man. It really, so all this time, right, since YouTube came out, they've been saying, yo, all the
The world, like so, you know, because Diddy is going to come down with a lot of other people. It ain't going to be just Diddy. It's going to be all these other people that was engaging with him too.
he got video.
So it's
gonna
going
be dead people coming
he's going to
up.
have some.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to have some co-defendants.
They got more evidence on Diddy than R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Look at what they did to Kels. So,
And I find it equally weird. Like if this was really not serious allegations or allegations that could be true, where are all the people that attended these Diddy parties? He wasn't there by himself.
Right.
It was a
That's just
party.
what-
That means people were there. So where are these people?
responsible
Why
for
y'all ain't
80
coming forward?
murder.
They just messing with Diddy.
They talking about murders and
That's a black
rapes
man.
and all that.
Generational wealth is straight. Family
This
is
shit,
straight.
this
But the
shit-
same
We
thing,
seen it all. We seen this.
we can't highlight that without highlighting the stuff that's going on at Nickelodeon too now.
Oh yeah.
They might have just dropped the Diddy just to distract us, because Nickelodeon is on the same thing.
And they been had a track record.
They
Yeah.
six it.
So them people over there are doing the same allegations as Diddy.
And that touch home, we got
Yeah.
Nickelodeon Land,
Right.
the biggest mall in the world. So
They might have to change
Is that what it
that.
is? Still, it's Nickelodeon now?
It's Nickelodeon
It's
Universe.
not Camp. They changed.
Yeah,
We
they-
need to
they-
go back to
yeah,
Camp
yeah,
Snoopy. We need to go back.
It's like this, man. It really, so all this time, right, since YouTube came out, they've been saying, yo, all the actors, all the musicians have to do these things in order to get their success. And as much as you want to call it a conspiracy theory, it seems like it just keeps coming to the light.
Yeah.
Man, these people are
Yeah.
in these back rooms doing some messed up
Yeah.
stuff in order to get into the positions that they
Yeah.
in.
And they doing this with people from the